Hello friends, Sick Wicked Nasty back here, looking to do my PvP breakdown that is per request from the YouTube video. So when I'm playing PvP, I uh, I don't play the traditional Arcane Mage way, which the traditional way is the Triune Ward and just kite and never die kind of thing. I take a very opposite approach. It is super huge burst. So yeah, I'll get into how we're doing that. So much like my PvE guide, my uh, my PvP build here revolves 100% around the Arcane Harmony legendary. It only stacks up to 10 times in PvP, but I mean that's still 80% extra damage on your barrage, which is, I mean, if you can get the crits, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm Venthyr obviously, so I'm running Nadia for the incoming uh, interrupt and snare and root reduction. The snare and root isn't so huge because I don't run shimmer, I run slipstream, so I'm able to blink out of most movement impairing effects anyway, including stuns, roots, snares, all that kind of stuff. Mirrors of Torment, I just want to point out everything it does in PvP. It, I mean, it slows cast speeds. It slows their movement speed. That's while that's during the first two. Once the third mirror goes off, if they live that long, it actually silences them and roots them. So in a lot of my, well, in the video that I'm going to show here or just kind of go over, I kill two pallies, and one of them I get before his bubble, and it is 100% because Mirrors of Torment is on him, and he gets the silence. Or it might not be in that video, but a lot of times that's what happens is uh, mages don't get to block, pallies don't get to bubble because they're silenced with with the Mirrors of Torment. Here we'll go through the PvP talents. I'm running amplification. I run slipstream. Master of Time is really good, but I have a terrible habit that I can't break of moving when I'm casting my clear casting missiles, and that really fucks me if I don't take slipstream. Um, because I'm focusing on burst, I take Rune of Power instead of Incanter's Flow. I take Resonance because of the the barrage damage that we're looking to get with the Arcane Harmony legendary. Chrono Shift for the slow, so that you can still kite around. Arcane Orb, just it's instant cast. It's good damage and it's good arcane charge builder. And then overpowered for the burst once again. Um, so for my three PvP talents, I always take Temporal Warp. I always take Arcane Empowerment, which, I mean, this one, Arcane Empowerment, the reason I take it is mostly so that I can Arcane Explosion without using my missile stacks, my clear castings. Um, for the third one, depending on the comp that I'm playing against, anything Mage or Resto Druid or even Resto Chamois, I take Klepto, which Arcane Mages do still get to keep in 9.1. Nobody else does, but we do, because fuck them. Uh, if I'm playing dot comps, I play Dampened Magic, but we are losing that in 9.1. The only other ones I run are Torment the Weak if I'm running against a melee cleave team, and then Mass Invisibility if the group calls for it. So we'll get into stats and trinkets and gear and whatnot. So I'm 221, but that's 100% because I have the PvE gear to be 221. Got verse on everything. I do have a couple pieces of 213 actual PvP gear here just to get my my verse up to. Oh, I'm missing a piece. There you go. Get my verse up to the 25%. That's where I feel comfortable, and I still have a decent amount of crit there, so that I can hunt for those life-ending crits. When it comes to stats in PvP, it's pretty standard. It's verse is the end-all be-all. You want as much of it as you can get. I've only got about 25% on this guy. Everybody else is, well, not everybody else, but I've seen lots of people running upwards of like 30%. So, yeah, it's pretty much verse first and then everything else afterwards. I try to get my haste up to that just over that 375 mark because that's where I can still fit the 3 arcane missiles into Touch of the Magi window, and I try to keep my crit up as high as I can because I like the big barrage damages. So there's no real wrong way to do it. All haste, crit, mass is good. Haste, if you have to pick one that you're going to funnel all of your stats into for a second one, I would go haste because if you can get your polys off quicker, that is neat. I'm running the Sinful Gladiator's badge because I want the on-use primary stats as opposed to the random proc from the insignia. And I'm running Medallion because I use it to get out of CC while I'm bursting. On your opener, when you're coming out of the gates in the arenas, essentially how I like to open up is I'll go into Invis, and then I will hang out there and try to open with a poly. So I'm not opening with a poly to do anything real crazy other than get people's kicks. So I open with a poly to try to get kicks, and I keep polying until I get their kicks, and then I go into the exact same as my PvE rotation for my burst. It's Mirrors of Torment into Touch of the Magi into Arcane Power. Now that's if I'm just opening cold and I don't have any charges. What I do like to do is if I have some charges and a full 10 stack on my Harmony, I like to get out mirrors, and then I will actually Arcane Power first and put a barrage into them, and then I'll go into Touch the Magi, and I missile into Touch of the Magi. I don't use Arcane Blast unless I have Presence of Mind up, and they can be instant cast because there's enough stuff that you can get kicked on. And at least if you're going to get kicked on missiles, if they kick it towards the end of the cast, then you haven't lost a full set of damage like you would if you're casting an Arcane Blast. Like an Arcane Blast might hit for 6 or 7k, but if you get kicked, you get no damage. Whereas if you get kicked on missiles, if they kick it after 3 missiles have gone out, you're still going to get 3k damage. If they kick it after 4, you still get 4k damage. So I mean, there's a little bit of a reward if you get kicked in missiles as opposed to Arcane Blast. Yeah, I also had some people ask about my Tell Me Whens that I've got on my thing here. So what I'm running here for Tell Me Whens, because I run time anomaly in PvE, I track all of my time anomaly stuff. So I track my Arcane Power, I track my what's it fucking called? My Time Warp. This I'm using to track my Harmony stacks. So it's just track buff, Arcane Harmony, on player. I start tracking it at 7 for PvP. Yeah, shows the numbers, all that kind of stuff. This one is my Unbound Changeling that I run in PvE. I'm tracking that as well. Tracking it for everything, all of the stats, haste, crit, mass, and all stats. And then clear casting, I'm just keeping tabs on the timer, how much time I have left, and the number of stacks that I've got there. And then this guy here is just to track my mana. I have it set to go off when my mana gets to 75% because when I'm running Enlightened, that's when I need to look at using mana gems and or evocating to keep my Enlightened buff. Yeah. So that's my tell me wins. I've got one of my videos here that we're going to go over. I'm just going to do a little bit of commentary on it. So we'll get that playing. Okay, so this is me coming out. So I got my mirrors on him, my touch on him. As he's coming over to me, I'm just pouring the missiles into him. Then I get the Arcane Barrage into him right before the touch goes off. This is essentially all I'm doing here is I'm just trying to wait and make sure I get I got his bubble, but really what all I'm doing is waiting for my cooldowns to come back up so that I can burst him when I can get him into the open so that he can fight me. But that pretty much wraps it up. Only other real tips and tricks I have for PvP is I mean when you don't have cooldowns up, kite. Just use your Door of Shadows, use your blinks. I use Spatial Rift, and also use your Alter Times. Try and slow is another big one to make sure you have up if you don't have Barrage on them. When you're between cooldowns, don't worry about building charges for your Barrage. Just keep your slow up on them so that they can't get to you. And yeah, that's about it. It's pretty basic, pretty simple. It's kind of a high risk, high reward thing. But yeah, it works. I got to 1600 in 2s and we got to 1584 in 3s here. So I mean, it's definitely challenger worthy in my hands. I mean, and somebody that's more talented than I am, I mean, it could be much higher. One of the top mages in the EU right now is actually an arcane mage that is running the Harmony legendary. So if you have any questions, hit me up or come hang out on the stream and ask some questions there. I'm streaming every Tuesday and Saturday as it is, and trying to fit in a spattering of other ones during the week when I have time. Yeah, it's been fun. I'll catch you guys later.